For me, I tend to assume incompetence ahead of malevolence. And I think a lot of what we saw during COVID was sheer incompetence. I've spoken to people who were working for the Prime Minister at the time, and even just getting simple data, like how many people died of COVID last night, they were getting more reliable numbers from a guy on TikTok than they could get from the state health bureaucrats. So it was just wide scale meltdown. I think our state premiers have a lot to answer for, and the incompetence of their bureaucracies compounded all of this. But I think, frankly, we won't know the answers until everyone who was involved in the decision making at that time is brought before either Senate committees or some sort of judicial inquiry in the US and in Australia, and is forced to actually testify as to what happened. We all assume we can have so much faith in experts, but COVID shattered that. And the irony is that Fauci is held up as by the left as this bastion of science and objectivity against the emotional conspiracy theorist right. But he did more to undermine science than perhaps anyone else in the last 50 years. I think there is a fundamental mistrust now of science. Vaccine rates across all kinds of vaccines are going down. People do not trust the experts anymore. Good luck during the next pandemic trying to get anyone to listen to these mandates. They simply won't. So the long-term effects of this are going to extend far beyond just the COVID pandemic. And it makes me worried because I'm pro-science. I want objective truth, but I also want scientists to update their hypotheses as new evidence comes out. That didn't happen during COVID. There was a narrative that was picked, and then everything else was retrofitted to fit that narrative. That is actually not science. But when you have your chief scientist promoting that way of thinking, what message does that send to the public? It says you can't trust any science. So this has been extremely damaging. Ultimately, I think there are so many questions we need answered, but like Jared, I am a bit skeptical and, to be honest, a bit pessimistic about the prospect of any of those really being answered.